trying to. I got leaf hoppers
Sponsored by Williams.
in my alfalfa.
It's an open house, but no one.
Boy, they raise a heck of
Place it's advertised is on
And
their
I don't think
website.
your information,
Ma'am?
We could have a meeting.
I don't think your information's totally right, because you guys keep saying it starts in Brooklyn. My understanding is it's supposed to start in Springville.
I can show you the maps that they
I
submitted.
know my understanding was it was supposed to start at the Springville compressor station.
And where did you get your information from?
I got from a document that we received,
Thank you.
that came through with
That's the
the,
way to do it.
what was it?
You're right.
Was it
Well, I'll bring it up
something?
tomorrow night.
Here's the problem. There's so much misinformation going on, and it's because they want to muddy the waters. They don't really want people to pay close attention. That's the reality of it. Okay? They are submitting compressor station applications and gathering line applications all along the route, so that all along that route, the Cary and Sutton compressor dehydration and processing station that they're building, that they're permitting,
And this is on the Constitution.
that's for the Constitution.
Because my understanding of the Constitution, it wasn't supposed to be a compressor station until it got up to Albany, New York.
Well, here's the problem with that philosophy. Technically speaking, the Constitution pipeline is a 30-inch very high-pressure pipeline, and this is the way it was explained by engineers and people who
Call
know
me
these
if
things.
you need me, I'll
All of
be
these
on.
gathering lines that go, and lateral lines from the wells to the gathering lines, and then eventually to the compressor stations, through the compressor stations to the 30-inch transmission line.
Right.
What has to happen is, they need the compressor stations to up the speed of the gas through those pipes, because it's kind of like merging onto a highway that's where everybody's going 70 miles an hour, but this is you're only going 35 miles an hour. You need to ramp up your speed. That's what the compressors do. They compress.
Well, I understand
and
what
push
the
gas.
compressor does.
That's why
My
they're
understand-
needed for
Yeah, but
every
my
gathering
understanding
line.
is there was enough pressure from the compressor
Gathering
station. No, they're not hooking to the gathering lines. My understanding was the Constitution was hooking into the compressor station at Springville. And
That's
that-
only one. There's also
and
another
that-
one in New Milford, and that it's going to hook into.
Right, so those compressor stations.
There's also
that-
another one planned for further north.
Yeah, but those
in-
compressor stations aren't part of the Constitution line. Those compressor stations are part of a different, part of the gathering lines.
That's what they're telling you. But the truth of it is, they are all along the submitted, planned Constitution route. And they say, well, that route is not cut in stone. That route can change.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're
Not
so far
absolutely.
away. Well,
The
yeah,
truth of it is, as long as, see, the problem here is it's FERC that has to permit.
I understand, but what I'm saying to you is, they've got to go through 100 and some miles in New York State.
It's a total of 100 miles, because it's
Right.
it's
About
22
100
miles
miles in New
here.
York State, which they don't have all the permits for yet. They've got
Correct.
a lot of wetlands to go through, they've got a lot of
When they're ready,
lakes.
they'll get it. I have no
Well,
doubt that when they're ready,
You
they'll
know,
get it. Do you?
my big
Seriously.
concern too is, as well as, Mr. Stevens so elegantly put it, a lot of time the legislators, because of where you are and where they are, the rules are different. They'll pass
But they
one set.
will, if they have to do this a little bit through wealthier areas of New York, they will do that. But when they're ready, there's not a doubt in my mind that, I'm not one of these people that think it can be stopped or
Well,
banned.
yeah, and I don't think so
Not gonna
either.
happen.
I think
Right.
between what's going on at the state and federal level, yeah.
If that was
it's
a
gonna go.
possibility, they wouldn't continue to be going now if they didn't think they were going to get that transmission line to move it to market. There's no
Right.
point to drill if they can't move it to market.
Right, absolutely.
But it's the federal government that approves the Constitution, only the federal.
Right.
It's the state government, the DEP, that approves the in-state gathering lines and compressor stations. This is why it's a segmented process. They are continuing every day. I get all the DEP notices for the new permit applications and the GPS coordinates. I have it all marked on my Google Earth because I need to know what's going on. I live in the center of it. And I need to know when I have to bring my family out of state because it's getting too close. They're going to be drilling for 3 weeks. My dogs are going to be freaking out and whatever.
I understand that.
So I need to know when to leave town for a while.
Right.
I do plan to live here for the rest of my life. I moved here to do that. So, and I don't want my water damaged, and I don't want my house to be exploded. I don't want my homeowner's insurance either to not cover any damage or to go up $5,000 a year so they can cover this. okay, that wasn't my doing. I don't pay taxes to have this inflicted on me, but I do expect emergency management to be in place. I do expect certain safeguards. I expect that maybe the commissioners, it could start with the county commissioners. It should go to other representatives. It should go to federal representatives that we have, senators and congressmen, to petition for this area, which is nothing like the West. The West is huge.
Okay,
Here,
let
we shouldn't be class one.
me tell you a couple things. All right, first of all, my experience with Harrisburg. If we want to get something changed in Harrisburg, having 12 county commissioners from across the state go to Harrisburg
Doesn't do anything.
is not going to have an impact. You've got to get the mass people to go to Harrisburg and walk around that area and carry signs, and then, I'll give you a perfect example.
I agree with you, but
Charters, let me give you a perfect example. Charter schools. How charter schools have gotten so much movement in this state is because every time they want something in Harrisburg, they load buses of kids on them, they go to Harrisburg, they take the kids in, they go around and see all the senators and House of Representatives, they have the kids give them some pencils or whatever and pamphlets, and they're there for a day or two.
you know
And
what?
then, let me finish. And then what happens is, they get movement how they want to go. You know, the old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
I understand.
Well, you know,
I'm an
the
old
problem now.
19, I was
let me-
from the 60s.
Right.
I
Now,
understand.
I've lived here my entire life.
Right.
And I want to live here the rest of my life. I
I'm glad
love
to hear
northeastern Pennsylvania. I love Susquehanna County. I don't think there's a better county in the state than Susquehanna County. And I want to stay here. Am I happy with the things that are going on? No. Do I express to people about the things that have gone wrong and they're responsible? Do I talk to Sandy Majors and other people in Harrisburg and say, it's your responsibility to take care of these things? Yes.
Do you do that publicly though? Because here's what I see, and I agree with you completely.
Listen.
People have to get, let me speak for 1 second here.
Right.
People do have to get involved, and that's what makes a difference, because we're the electorate. We're the
Right.
people that ultimately, if we cared enough, could change things. But here's what I see. I come to these meetings. This is only the second commissioners meeting I've been to. But it appears to me, and I could be wrong about this, but the impression I get here, and you realize you are the leaders of this county. You three are the leaders of the people who live here. And what I see is apathy. I see the three of you sit here when these comments are being made, and you look like, how much time is this taking? You look like you don't care. And as a result, everywhere I went yesterday to put up these flyers, I see that same attitude in my neighbors, and it's very upsetting to me. I want people to care about themselves, because the industry doesn't care about you.
Well,
You have
but
to
that's
care, and
what
you have
has
to
to
show
start.
it. It has to start here.
Well, it has to start in
Are
everybody's
you not
backyard.
allowed to get people enthusiastic about a cause? Is that the problem here?
No,
Sure.
I didn't say that. What I'm telling you is, you know, people have the right to their own opinion and what they want to do.
Right.
So when you go to people and they say, listen, I don't want to get involved in this, or I don't care about it, that's the choices that they make. And if they make that choice, that's their business. It's not my business to go and say, well, listen, you can't have an attitude that you don't care. You have to get involved. That's not.
But it's
that's not
because
it.
they're told that everything will be okay and we all go to the seashore. They're told rainbows and sunshine when there's another reality that they are never shown. That's the problem. Because if they knew, and that's why the industry told these EMTs, we'll bring the bodies to you. You stay out.
Well, I would find it very hard pressed for you to go to the industry right now and have any of them say on record that we told EMTs that we'll bring the bodies to them. They're not going to say that. And I don't know what EMTs said that. I do know.
I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Right, but
She
I
loves
do
the
know
trouble.
that the information I've had at several locations where an incident occurred, that especially the gas company said, let us secure the area, then you can come in, so that none of the EMTs or the fire people would be hurt. And the
Why don't
people
they
that,
just provide training for our EMTs?
my understanding is they're trying to work on doing that, and that's what United said that they're doing. They are giving
And
them
not at
training.
the taxpayers' expense. This is their doing. They need to come
Well,
here
the
and
gas
prepare
company-
us for the things
Okay.
they want to do to our community.
Listen what I'm saying to you. United has already told you that they've given them equipment out of their
A
money.
truck,
They've given them phone.
one township, Vermont.
Well, you assume it's one township. You don't know that it's not more. And she's told you that they get training, that the gas company has provided them with
Didn't you hear
training.
what she said? She said, well, you're right. They did say they don't really want us there because they're training
No, that's
for
not
it.
what she said. What she said,
That's why
the girl from
she's got
now.
it on video, don't
the-
you?
Listen,
We'll find
you
it.
gotta let me finish talking and stop interrupting.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right? Now, if you want to have a conversation, we'll have one, but I expect you to
Go ahead.
be professional too. What the girl from United that was standing over here said was that gas companies come in and has trained them and has provided training for them and is providing training for them. The gas company, that's what she said.
Okay, well,
And she
I'll
said
watch that when
she
she puts it on
also
YouTube.
said that they provided equipment, they got a foam truck. We've also said that they got another trailer, other equipment, foam. They brought all that into the
I
area.
only heard the foam truck.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
What she's also said is that they
And that
are.
was as a result of the Lathrop, wasn't it the Lathrop?
You gotta let me finish talking.
But I'm just asking.
But you keep interrupting me.
But they didn't have foam for that explosion. They had to bring it in from a couple townships over.
Mhm.
And that's probably, getting this foam truck for here is probably as a result of an after-the-fact situation. I'm trying to prevent an after-the-fact. I'm trying to pre-handle, because that's what I do. I'm an old computer consultant. And in my mind, God bless the pessimists, for they have it the backups, you know? You need to pre-handle and protect yourself, and I believe in preventative maintenance. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So she is saying that she's received training from the gas company and is receiving training from the gas company. What she said is that the fire company, the people that have been trained, and listen, you can't be a volunteer fireman anymore in the state of Pennsylvania by saying, I'm a volunteer fireman. You have to go through training. It's mandated by the state now that you have to go through the state of Pennsylvania to become a fire person in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, on top of that, and that's part of the problem in the state of Pennsylvania right now, is trying to get volunteers for these fire
Because
departments.
they're not paid.
Well, they're not paid, but the problem is all the training they have to go through now in order to become a volunteer fireman.
That's why we need to be paying these
Well,
professional
I
firemen.
understand that, but where do you draw the line? You know, you look at Johnson City and Endicott, they're paying their fire departments, both their cities are going bankrupt because of what they're paying
Because
their
it
city.
should come from this industry that is forcing us to have to do this.
I'm not saying that it shouldn't, but the
Okay.
legislation starts in Harrisburg. That's where all this is starting, is in Harrisburg.
And we
It's
need
just
to
like
get rid of
it's-
Tom Corbett so that
Okay.
these
You
things
gotta let
can
me talk.
happen.
All right, you gotta let me talk. It's just like Craig said.
You like to talk as much as Craig Stevens.
Nobody likes to talk as much as Craig does. But it's like Craig said, legislators sat down there and made a decision and changed the law to benefit them in Philadelphia. And they called it something
Montgomery
else.
and Bucks County,
Yeah,
right?
they called it something else. Am I right? They called it something else.
Right. So
And
they
put
could
a
get
moratorium on it,
Right.
right?
And
And
just totally
it's just
disregarded
like,
the Act
it's
13
like
that the
everything
rest
else.
of the state has to
It's been
comply
a
with.
struggle for years in Susquehanna County to get people in Harrisburg to understand that there is land above Scranton. That
Right.
we do exist up here, and that we have needs too, and we need to be taken care of.
Right.
And our representatives are supposed to be there, but again, the problem our representatives have when they're there is when you've got one representative representing the whole Northeast, you've got all these people else down there, and all they see is the bag of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Right.
So the idea is, listen, we can fight City Hall all day. And the old adage, you fight City Hall, you can get no place. But what we've got to do is start looking at ways, how can we adapt this and how can we make changes that we need to, that it's
Without
not
putting
work.
it on the backs of the taxpayers.
Well, exactly.
And how do we do that? Do
Well,
you have
that's,
ideas?
well, you know.
I'll fight for your causes if you give me a
Listen, if I had an idea and could put it on a piece of paper right now, I'd be a millionaire
Well, would
right
you
now.
accept other ideas and fight for them?
I always talk to
Petition
people,
for
if
them.
people want to bring me ideas, I'm glad to listen to ideas.
Okay. How do we do that, Alan Hall? So I was looking at Marianne Moore, and I was going to email her and ask her a list of questions, but I thought this would be better.
Well, you know, I will tell you right now, you know, I've only been in office since January. So do I know all the inner workings as well as Mary Ann and Michael? Absolutely not. So when it comes to the EOC, you know, Michael and Mary Ann have worked very closely with those departments. So they know a lot more about what those departments are doing. Now, we have been telling the townships and municipalities, listen, you people are elected officials. you need to step up and be responsible for what you're doing too. You can't just have the attitude of, well, it's not my problem, go see the county.
And that
You know,
attitude just prevails throughout the communities.
Well, what
because-
happens is what people fail to understand is, the municipalities and the townships are the ones that are responsible for the local residents in the area. County government is county government, okay? It's entirely different than what the responsibilities of municipalities have. And the state government is the state government. They're the ones that are passing all the legislation to create the laws, the acts, and everything else that get pushed back down through the system.
I understand.
To give you a perfect example, it's the flood mitigation. We had 3 floods in 5 years here, and we've had substantial damage.
Did you get a lot of federal funding for that?
Well, we're trying to, but, there's problems associated with that now. FEMA come in and, well, we're gonna do this, and, then it's a fight to get things done.
And I know that that's still a big
But to
issue.
give you a better example, it's the homes that are in the municipalities that are getting flooded. Under the flood mitigation plans, the townships and the municipalities are supposed to be handling, those homes and getting those through FEMA and PEMA. But in 2006, nobody knew what they were doing in the municipalities, so the county ended up stepping up and creating more overhead to go in and try and get this flood mitigation thing taken care of and get the townships and the supervisors
That's
and
exactly
get all, let me finish, and get these people covered. But what we're telling them is, listen, it's not our role at the county to do that. It's your role. Because when the house gets bought out by FEMA, it doesn't become part of the county. It gets titled over to the borough and to the municipality.
So they're responsible for it.
So they end up with a property. But yet, we end up at the county level doing all the work, paying all the fees, paying all the extra money, and then the municipality or the township ends up with the property.
Is this your second or third term?
This is my first. I've been here for
This is
6
just your
months.
first term. Well, I've
Yes.
seen your name on these signs forever.
Right.
And all my
So
neighbors are
that's what I'm saying. You've got the same situation here. To have the effect that everybody wants on this, you can't do it at the local township meeting. You can't do it at the county meeting. You've got to have a mass number of people going to Harrisburg.
But that has to start somewhere. There's got to be a snowball effect, It gets bigger as it rolls.
Those individuals down there, although your state representatives may be fighting for you, there's only one of them versus how many other ones that are in Philadelphia, from Philadelphia and York and Harrisburg and Pittsburgh.
Well, Philadelphia right now is very happy that their natural gas price is getting so low.
Well, sure.
Okay.
And they're also looking at some great money from the impact fee.
No, and the fight seems to be to drill or not to drill. Those are the two sides. My issue is different than that. I don't really believe that we can stop it, at least not here in Pennsylvania. I'm hoping we can stop it everywhere else in the country because in my mind it's not a good thing to do to the earth. But here, not going to stop. But what we have to do is make it so people will still be able to live here when all is said and done. Because the truth is, they're not leaving. They're going to be here at least through most, if not all, of our lifetimes. Okay?
Well, like I said,
And we need
I've
to be
lived here.
prepared for it.
unlike you, I have lived here my entire life. I was born here, raised here, I've lived here my entire life, and I'm going to stay here.
Right.
All right?
I've only been here for 10 years.
So
And I'm
what
thankful for those 10
and what I'm
years.
telling you is, I'm proud of Pennsylvania. I'm proud of Susquehanna County. I'm proud of the Halsted borough that I live in. And I don't want to have to leave because somebody does something wrong. I want to make sure, and I think that all of us said in our campaigns that yes, we support natural gas drilling, but responsible natural gas drilling.
Well, then-
Now, the problem that comes into that, which everybody wants to argue with me about, is, well, okay, they did something wrong, what are you going to do to fix it? There is nothing that I can do to fix it other than
I'm not
ask
looking
people.
for that.
Wait, let me finish.
Okay.
Then other to ask people to take and step up and do their job. DEP has to do their job. EPA has to do their job. The state legislators who make the laws have to do their jobs. But here's the key to this though. Like I said, we're in a small secluded area in Susquehanna County. When you look at the revenue that
Not so
comes into the
secluded
state of
anymore.
Pennsylvania now because of the gas industry, you've got all these other locations in the state now that don't have the drilling or don't have the gas industry that are going to benefit from it. So it's hard to change legislation when everybody else is not in favor of changing legislation.
And that's
'cause they're
fine,
getting
I'm not,
involved.
that's not even my issue. But like you said, you have to go to the people who can do the thing. You have to go.
Right.
Okay. And with respect to emergency management, that's your thing. That's the county commissioners.
And
So
they
what
are
I want to
working.
know is, how can I get that as an issue on a commissioner meeting agenda? To have a real public discussion about what needs to happen in this county to prepare for everything
Well, I
that's
think
going
the first thing
on.
that you need to do is go meet with the emergency management coordinator. And
Who
see-
is that?
And that's Charlene Mosier.
Charlene Mosier.
She's
She's
also-
for the county.
She
right?
works for the county. And she also is with the Hartford
She wasn't
Volunteer
here
Fire.
today, was she?
No, she's also the Hartford Fire Department. And start with her, and she can show you what she's been working on and what they've been doing, and who they're working with.
Okay.
And then we can have a discussion from there. But I think that's where you need to start, is to talk.
I'll go there, and she's the EM coordinator for the
Right.
county.
Right,
So she is instrumental in putting together all the plans for each
Right.
township
right.
along.
Well, no, she's not responsible for putting together for the township.
Who is?
She's responsible to work with the townships to make sure that they get their information back and put it together. You know, it's not.
That's the problem, Mike.
Well, but see, here's the thing, you're trying to do the same thing that other people are doing. Well, let's just have the county take care of everything.
No.
And it's not,
No,
no,
no, no,
let me
no.
finish.
Okay.
And so what I'm saying is, her job is to work with those local agencies to make sure their plans are in place. Then their plans are incorporated into our plans.
So that big book that exists
that
in the
big
courthouse
500-page
has
book,
every township's
it's-
plan in it.
Right, and that's
That's
what you
what I
can,
wanted to know.
that's what you can go over with.
Okay, because my township people think that, well, I don't know, yeah, they're
Now,
responsible.
can I guarantee everyone's in there? Can I guarantee that every township and every municipality did what they were supposed to do? No, I
Well,
can't.
they said they have a plan that's given to
Right.
them by the county.
Right.
But there's no funds to implement it, and this
Right.
is a big problem.
Right.
So we can't just sit back and say, oh, well, there's no
Well,
funds to implement it.
you know, the problem.
We have to do something about that.
Like you said, the issue you have is you have volunteer organizations.
We need to find funding, and if we have to petition Corbett and the DEP or hire attorneys if we have to get those funds out of these bazillion-dollar industry who is wealthier than most countries.
Right. Well,
then
what has
we
to
need
happen
to
is
do
it has to happen, and listen, I understand that, it has to happen outside of the county,
It has
out
to
of the
be-
county budget. Because see, the county, first of all, the county budget, you're restricted as to how much you can give
But you can't
that
just sit
volunteer
back and say it
organization.
has to happen outside. You have to
Well,
start
no,
rolling.
don't say that, that's what I said. I said what has to happen is, the funding has to come from outside the county.
Yes,
Personally,
I agree with that.
outside the county budget.
Yes.
So that's what has to happen. Now, are people working on that? Yeah, Charlene's been working on that. Charlene worked with the gas company, worked with the United to make sure what they were getting would be efficient and work for their program.
Our township supervisor told me that she submitted a grant application so that our local EMTs in New Milford Township could get an EAD.